Hello, I think this is on. Video starting. Okay, we're live. Hello. I hope everyone had a good weekend. I hope everyone is having a good start to their Monday, to their week. So, I wanted to get on and share some of the awareness that I got not this weekend, but last weekend. I posted about kind of getting a universal wrist slap and had kind of just one of those lessons that you get that you kind of have to go through to see that you're in your own way and then take some action to course correct so you're not in your own way anymore. So I've processed, I have the words to share now because I've pieced a few other things together. And now I wanted to share because I kind of wanted to kind of show the process of the unfolding and how several things can seem like they're not related, but really they are, because that is absolutely what happened here. So, a couple weekends ago, I was at an event and I have slowly been kind of adding, taking away, and just editing my display for my events. And depending on the event, it is going to be a little bit different because I'm kind of there in different capacities. But overall, I've had a standard kind of theme for my display. And a couple of months ago, I thought it would be a good idea to get some additional signage because I noticed that there were all sorts of varieties of signage. You know, when you go to these events, like people want to know who you are, what you're doing, what you're about, how you help them, or how you help others. And I thought, okay, so I had that idea months ago, and I literally had three or four excuses about why I either didn't have the energy, I didn't have the money, I didn't know what to put on certain signs, like all the excuses of why I couldn't or why I shouldn't or why, it just wasn't the right time to get a banner, get a sign, get all sorts of things. And I'm relating this to this specific kind of table display situation, but insert any situation around why we make up the stories or the excuses that I haven't taken that action because dot dot dot. So it could literally be anything. But for me, it was about kind of table display and signage. So I invested in one sign and I thought, okay, this is great. I love my sign. It feels good. It goes with the display. Everything's cool. So event starts and everything is not cool. Everything is not cool. So I go through the event, and in my mind, I'm going through all of the ways that I could have improved, I could have done better, I could have, coulda, shoulda, woulda, like all that stuff. And, I'm meeting with people, I'm interacting with people, but something is still off. I didn't know what was off until the kind of towards the end of the event, and I was talking to someone about kind of their display and how long they've been doing their services and things like that. And we got to talking about kind of marketing and psychology, kind of indirectly. We weren't using those words, but that's exactly what it was. And they were talking about kind of why they decided to do certain things. And I said, yeah, I had the thought to do that, but yeah, I have so much resistance to doing that. And then they said, well, why? And I said, oh, well, I just don't want to spend a whole bunch of money on it and then have to change it. And like I spit out like literally three excuses, and I'm calling myself excuses, out in a matter of like 10 seconds, just like that. And hey, Amanda. So as I'm listening to myself tell this person these excuses, mind you, I don't know this person. So I realized it was kind of that talk track that I had been telling myself of the excuses why I wasn't doing this thing, even though the little voice inside my head, the intuition, told me months ago that I should do this thing, like get this other sign. So I walked back to my table and I thought, wow, okay, that's interesting. So we end the event, pack everything up, and I interacted with a client who they were kind of tapering down their personality to accommodate the people at her job. So basically, she was saying that she was feeling like she was too much for the people around her, and that she had to basically taper down to make others feel comfortable. And basically the guidance, and she had several people on her side to back me up on this, but the guidance was, you don't do that for anyone. Like, you have to be true to yourself. And she said, okay, that feels good. And I realized how many times that I've tapered down or not tapered up to accommodate, to appease, to make others comfortable, to make others happy. And she resonated with that. And I thought, I'm telling this to her, but I'm also listening for myself, because we all do it. So there was that, the conversation with the other vendor about the signage and the psychology. And then I had the most beautiful conversation that following day, so on the Monday, with someone who owns a business and has recently had to make some hard decisions out of following intuition. And not getting into details because it's not my business to share, but basically we had almost an hour-long conversation about what it means to follow your intuition, to line up with your own integrity, and then make hard decisions around what is and is not kind of in your space, your sphere, when it comes to what is in and outside of your integrity. And it's everything from, do I eat a certain food, to how do I set a boundary with a friend or a loved one, to how do I do what's best for my business because it feels aligned versus not. So it was a beautiful conversation, but it was yet again another reminder of where I was not fully in integrity with myself, my business, where I said I wanted to be, and how I said, I will do anything to make this happen. So I went back to the moment where I said, I will do anything to make this happen. Like, universe, bring it. And I said, you know what? I am not doing anything. And I went back to that conversation about the sign, because I realized that not only was I making excuses, but I was making excuses to hide and to keep myself smaller than I need to be right now. So what it boiled down to was, I wasn't making the sign and ordering the sign because I was hiding, and I didn't want my picture on the sign. I didn't want certain words and labels on a sign, because that would mean I couldn't hide. I couldn't hide. If your face and your picture and your labels and the things that you do are, if it's there, like, there's no denying it. Not only can you not deny it, but everyone else can see it, right? So there was a level of acceptance that I had to be ready to take, and be real about why I hadn't gotten the sign. It wasn't about paying for the sign. It wasn't about carrying one more thing to an event. It wasn't about, anything else. It was literally about showing up and owning and accepting and embodying everything that I am. So I got over myself. I ordered the sign. The sign is here. It's beautiful. Um, and it will be at my next event on Sunday. And I'm still slightly scared about that. But I am so grateful for the awareness of how I have been hiding and how if I am hiding, my people can't find me. I can't find me. Like if you're hiding, if you're not fully showing up authentically in everything that you do or what you say you do or what you're portraying yourself as, then the things will not align. That's kind of like the hard lesson. When we make that kind of cry out to the universe, show me the way, I will do anything to make this happen. You have to stop making the excuses. You have to get out of the stories. You have to get out of your head and out of the way, because you have the intuitive hits for a reason. And months ago when I had the intuitive hit like, oh, I should get a sign, it was, oh, I don't have a good picture. Oh, I don't know what to put on it. Oh, I don't know how to design it. Oh, I don't want to spend the money. Like literally that was 5 excuses right there. And I can just spit them out. But what I can now see, because hindsight's 2020, what I can now see is how much more I can be because we're presenting ourselves more fully. We're more in integrity with what we're doing, what we're meant to do, how we're meant to serve and show up and help others. Be the example for what that looks like. And it can be scary. And that's okay because, we're figuring this out as we go along. So we got the sign. Like I said, it's gigantic. It's like one of those 6 foot, 6.5 foot signs. But I love it. I do love it. And I had some, I don't want to say trepidation, but there were just like some interesting things coming up about just putting something on paper and then, on vinyl because it's a sign. But putting it down and then letting the just letting it all down, letting the guard down, um, letting the excuses go, and really being honest about what was really going on. And Christy, you're spot on. All the reasons that aren't the reasons. I had all the reasons that were not the heart of the reason. So I kind of wanted to go through like my process to let you see kind of how that fit together because like I said, I had the idea for the sign 2 months ago and sat on it, told myself I didn't need to do it because I was going to do it my way, not the way, that was the path of least resistance. Because, hey, let's make things difficult because that's what we do, right? Um, and seeing how, you know, you learn the lesson, sometimes you have to see the lesson in front of you to be able to put the pieces together. And sometimes you need other people to kind of come in and share their experience, like that woman was for me with, hiding herself at work. And then the other person I had the conversation with about her business, about making hard decisions and, making changes because the things that were going on in her business and with her, community were not working. They did not feel good. They weren't working and they weren't expansive for her and her business. So she said, you know what? I got to follow my intuition. I have to be in integrity with myself and what I know I'm here to do. And it's hard. I have no idea how it's going to work out, but I got to do what feels best for me. And I said, you know what? I respect that. I need to hear that because dot, dot, dot. We've been out of alignment, but we are back in alignment. So, yes, Christy. We will be live. I will be live from the next event. I will have all the things on display. We are not hiding anymore. But it's been such an interesting process because you take one step and the next two or three steps absolutely reveal themselves. But you have to be willing to take the step. You have to be willing to take the action. You have to be willing to not only kind of dig, but ask questions and interact with people and not pretend like you have all of the answers. Because I know for me, I'm the first to tell you I do not have all the answers. And I love a good question. I love asking questions. And, I love when people share their experience because it's super helpful. It might not always 100% be relevant, but when you can, get a couple of pieces and be like, oh, okay, well, that worked for them. If I try this one thing, maybe this can work for me. Maybe not trying all the 5 things they did, but just hearing the different stories and hearing how other people's experience is going and then what they've learned, I always find that valuable. So, following our intuition, when we have those intuitive hits, they're there for a reason. They are there for a reason. And if we say we want certain things, we have to follow the intuition. We have to make the decisions. We have to take the action because that's where the magic is. It's not sticking here and close in our comfort zone. It's outside of the comfort zone. Um, and then we get to heal and clear the things that started the reasons and started the excuses in the first place. And then we get to grow. We make space for the things that are actually ready and waiting for us because they're there. We just have to get out there to find them. So that's kind of the full story behind asking the universe and then not doing everything. Saying I'm going to do everything, but then not doing everything. Um, and kind of how the pieces fit together. So I hope that's helpful, just kind of sharing this whole process the last couple of weeks. And I will report back and see how it turns out. But I did at least want to share that. So if it's helpful, let me know. Let me know your experience, piecing your things together, doing the digging, finding the reasons, getting over the reasons, getting out of your own way, and seeing what magic happens after that. So I hope you have a good day, and I will be in touch.